Hello, today we are talking about Welcome to the Outcast restaurant. This anime was actually pretty good. I watched the full season a couple weeks ago. My friend is really into this. He loves this a lot, but it was pretty good. It has a 4.7 Crunchyroll, and I gave it 5 stars so that we maybe get a second season. Uh, Overall, I would give this anime maybe 8.5. I think 8.5 is safe for me out of 10. It had a lot of things that I want to see in the future in a second season, but there was some shortcomings of this one. For example, if we go here, we see one of the characters that I feel that was really underused in the series, Hinata. She's actually one of the first people that walks into the restaurant and gets saved by Dennis. But Dennis basically starts feeding her for free. She has to pay him back and everything, but she's a female knight that doesn't get a lot of jobs from the guild because she's a woman, but she's also a tank and a warrior at the same time. She almost gets SA'd in I think episode 2 or whatever, and Dennis saves her because she gets tricked by a group and they lead her into like the deep dark caverns and tries to assault her. It's not good. But Dennis saves her. I like this character a lot, but she is so underutilized. By the time you get to episode 5, like you get little snippets of like interesting story from her, like that she's poor, she can barely like live on her own and everything, and then they do nothing with that material. By the end of the season, she's hired as a royal knight, and she, like, her poverty days are over, but we didn't get to see much of it. We didn't get to see like this growth period she has, even though she has grown. The viewer didn't get to see it. I feel like she is so underutilized as a character. So unfortunately, I just think that is a big hole in Outcast Restaurant. Now, it's not the only hole. If we go to characters here, I think the other hole is this character right here. Now, that's not a really good picture of her, but she's literally was kind of like a servant of a guild, even though she was like one of the biggest players in that guild and everything. They used her as like an unpaid servant, and she basically wanted to like unalive herself when Dennis found her, and Dennis was able to save her too in the Outcast restaurant, but then we get nothing about her growth the whole time. She ends up being a teacher in a magic academy afterwards, but to get to that point from where she was, it was like 6 episodes, but we didn't see any of that growth happen. And it's just like, okay, it's like the series didn't have enough time to explore these two characters or anything like that. I do recommend Outcast Restaurant. If anything above a 7, I recommend Outcast Restaurant. When they do look into characters, they do a really good job. These two are the only problems I have with the first season. If we get more seasons and they develop their stories better, then I will change my mind. But for the episodes we have now, I just don't think they did those characters well at all. Now, getting rid of the 2 characters that they didn't do a good job, all the other characters they did. So let's talk about Vivi real quick. Vivi is a guy that kind of looks like a girl, but he's a guy. He's a mage or whatever, and he's good with palm magic. I didn't even know I would ever talk about something called palm magic, but he can make like palms out of his magic, like on your hand, and he's able to have people like jump on them and do all kinds of stuff. He is really skilled for his level. He was like 17 when Dennis found him, but again, he was abused by his guild for having a cocky and bad attitude. And then Dennis later saves him, and he's saved by a ghost girl or two. It's really touching and everything. But Dennis actually becomes, not Dennis, I'm sorry, Vivi gets saved. But Vivi becomes Dennis's, like male confidant in the group, and he actually is really done, like how he changes over time and everything. It's really just well done. hats off to this character. I thought he was going to be the least fascinating, but he actually surpassed those two girls because the story was fully developed in the season, and it was just really well done. And I'm talking about the characters when I'm talking about this show specifically, because the story is not particularly fantastic or anything. It's okay, but it's not like super fantastic or anything. So the characters is what makes this show interesting. We already talked about her. Now this is, nope, not her. Nope. Main. Okay, Altair. Altair is considered a main character. Altair is fantastic. She was in a Rafteria situation from Shield Hero. Basically the same thing. Dennis buys her in order to like free her and save her life. She ends up being this really fascinating character. She doesn't like to talk a lot because she was abused as a kid, and she turns out that she's from a rich family that her parents were killed in order for the dad's brother to take over the inheritance and everything. So she's an heir, and she in episode 6 they take her to trial in order to see if she is like worthy of the inheritance, and then the trial is rigged, so she loses the inheritance. But it's really good. It gets reconciled by the end of season 1. She's a very great character. She doesn't talk a lot, but she uses hand signals, and she does talk every once in a while, and as the series progresses, she talks more and more. She's a good counter to Dennis, and definitely a beautiful, like, adoptive parent/child situation. It's very heartwarming. Okay, the main character, well, there's a minor character I want to talk about, but let's see if they even have her. Oh, that's her. So Katie right here is Dennis's like contact in the biggest like military guild in the land, and she's the one who recruited Dennis, who Dennis got thrown out, which is why it's called the Outcast restaurant, because Dennis is a chef that got thrown out of his guild. He's also level 99, so he's one of the biggest, baddest people around. Most people never hit 100. 99 is like the top 1%. But Katie here recruited him, and she knows how important he is to the guild and everything. Dennis gets thrown out at the beginning of the series, and Katie is the only one that really stays loyal to him through the whole, ordeal. She's a delight. She's a wonderful character. She's very brash, and she's very fun-loving and go-lucky, and by the end of the season, she gets promoted. So, I'm sure she'll be around for season 2 if they have one. Okay, Dennis. Dennis is a level 99 cook. He is easily the best character in the show. My friend Biggles loves that he wears a paper bag in order to disguise his face when he goes and saves adventurers. He's known for cooking, but he's level 99, and he's not just a level 99 cook, he's very skilled as an adventurer. Like, he's good at fighting as well. He can take on a level 99 paladin / knight, which he does at the end of the series, like face to face. Now, by the end of season 1, he does become level 100, and I'm not going to tell you how that happens because this is the anime classroom. I want you to watch it if you want to know. I don't want to spoil the story. But he does become level 100 and become one of those legends, and it does seem like the series kind of, if they left the series how it is now, Dennis's story would be somewhat complete. Altair's story would be somewhat complete. Vivi would even be somewhat complete. But the first 2 women that I talked about, their stories seem complete, but we didn't get to see how they got complete. Like, I'm very bothered by their character development in the first season. But anyway, I would like to see this have a season 2 in the future. I think it's a great series. I think it has problems with season 1, but season 2, season 3 could actually fix these problems for me. But as of right now, it feels very incomplete. I do recommend it though. 4.7 on Crunchyroll, and it's not a waste of time. It's a 8.5 for me, but that's pretty high on my radar. For example, anything past an 8 is phenomenal. I've seen thousands and thousands of anime, so my scale is as critical as you could get about anime. So if I give it 8.5, it's definitely worth it. All right, that's what I got on the Outcast restaurant. See you next time.